cash stuffed in walls, secrets spilled from a cafe computer, Albert Gonzalez and Adrian Lamo turned the internet into their playground. One stole millions, the other toyed with giants. Who was the real threat? Stick around to find out. Before we move on to the next part, please give me a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for listening. Imagine a sweltering morning in Miami, 2009. FBI agents burst through the Ascendancy, the door of a nondescript apartment, their boots pounding the floor as they tear into the walls. Behind the plaster, they uncover stacks of cash, $1.6 million in crisp bills, a fortune hidden in plain sight. The man behind this stash? Albert Gonzalez, a name that would soon echo through the annals of cybercrime. Born in 1981 to Cuban immigrants in Florida, Gonzalez was a prodigy with a dark twist. From his teenage years, he showed a knack for computers, but instead of building a future in tech, he chose a different path, or one that would turn him into a phantom of the digital underworld. Now, shift the scene to a grimy cafe hundreds of miles away. It's the early 2000s, and a young man huddles over a public computer, his fingers dancing across the keys. With no money, no home, and nothing but his wits, he cracks into the New York Times network, rifling through its secrets, not for profit, but for the thrill of it. That man is Adrian Lamo, born in 1981 in Boston, a drifter who earned the nickname the Homeless Hacker. Where Gonzalez chased wealth, Lamo chased something else, the rush of outsmarting the system, of proving the giants weren't invincible. These two men emerged in an era when the internet was exploding, a wild, uncharted frontier where rules were few and stakes were high. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, as businesses raced to go online, security lagged behind, leaving doors wide open for those clever enough to walk through. Gonzalez and Lamo, each in his own way, exploited this chaos, leaving marks that still haunt us today. One built an empire of stolen data, the other toyed with the powerful, just to show he could. So, who were these shadow figures, and what drove them to such extremes? As we peel back their stories, a question looms. Between the profiteer and the provocateur, who truly posed the greater danger? Let's step into their worlds and find out. The stage is set. Albert Gonzalez, the Miami prodigy with a hunger for wealth, and Adrian Lamo, the wandering misfit with a taste for defiance. Now, let's pull back the curtain on how they worked their craft and what fueled their choices. These weren't random acts of chaos, but calculated moves, each revealing a mind shaped by its own obsessions. As we trace their steps, we'll see two starkly different blueprints of crime unfold, one a machine of profit, the other a game of pride. Gonzalez didn't stumble into his schemes. He engineered them with chilling precision. Picture him in a dimly lit room, orchestrating a global network of hackers stretching from the US to Eastern Europe. His weapon of choice? A technique called SQL injection, where he'd slip malicious code into a company's database, unlocking a secret passage to its core. Through these digital backdoors, he siphoned credit card details from giants like TJX and Heartland payment systems, amassing a fortune in the shadows. He didn't just hack, he hid his tracks, tapping into public Wi-Fi networks to cloak his location, a chess player always 3 moves ahead. What drove him? Greed, plain and simple, but layered with something deeper. Experts suggest Gonzalez thrived on the adrenaline of control, a man addicted to bending systems and people to his will. Every stolen dollar was a trophy, proof he could outsmart the world. Then there's Lamo, a lone wolf prowling a different wilderness. Forget high-tech lairs or international crews. His toolkit was a borrowed computer in a library or a cafe, wherever he could plug in and vanish. His method was less about brute force and more about finesse, sniffing out weak spots like poorly guarded passwords or misconfigured networks. Take his breach of the New York Times in 2002. He slipped in, roamed through internal files, and even added his name to their expert list, a cheeky signature on his work. Unlike Gonzalez, he didn't sell what he found. He exposed it, often tipping off his targets or the press. Why? Curiosity, yes, but also a need to be seen, to shout from the rooftops that no system was safe. Psychologists might call it a cry for validation, a rebel's way of carving his mark on a society that overlooked him. Where Gonzalez hoarded, Lamo flaunted. Side by side, their differences sharpen. Gonzalez ran a syndicate, a businessman in a criminal suit, turning data into cash with ruthless efficiency. Lamo played solo, an artist of disruption, leaving chaos as his canvas. One chased riches, the other chased recognition. Their tools and temperaments couldn't be more opposed. One methodical and mercenary, the other impulsive and idealistic. Yet both crossed lines, bending the digital age to their whims. So, which approach packed the bigger punch? That's where we're headed next, as we weigh their impact and ask, who left the deeper scar? We've walked through the minds of Albert Gonzalez and Adrian Lamo, seen their tools and the fires that drove them, one a calculated profiteer, the other a restless provocateur. Now it's time to step back and measure the wreckage they left behind. Their stories aren't just about clever tricks or broken systems. They're about the ripples that spread, the lives disrupted, and the lessons etched into the digital age. Let's stack them up, numbers, impact, and all, and see who cast the longer shadow. Gonzalez's scorecard reads like a heist movie gone wild. From 2005 to 2007, he and his crew pilfered over 170 million credit card numbers, hitting companies like TJX, Heartland Payment Systems, and others where it hurt most. The price tag? More than $200 million in losses, a staggering blow that shook banks, businesses, and the everyday shoppers alike. This wasn't petty theft, it was an economic earthquake, one that forced companies to scramble and customers to question every swipe of their cards. When the law caught up in 2009, Gonzalez faced 20 years behind bars, a sentence that screamed his danger loud and clear. Experts like Kevin Mitnick, a reformed hacker himself, put it bluntly. Gonzalez wasn't just a thief, he was a general in a new kind of war, turning cyberspace into a battlefield for profit. His reach was vast, his damage concrete, millions felt the fallout. Lamo's tally tells a different tale. His biggest hit, the 2002 breach of the New York Times, cost the paper around $300,000, mostly from unauthorized use of their research tools. He poked holes in Microsoft and Yahoo too, but the dollars didn't pile up like Gonzalez's haul. Instead, his threat was quieter, more insidious. He exposed secrets, rattled trust, and showed how fragile the giants really were. When he turned in Chelsea Manning in 2010, leaking military files to WikiLeaks, he stirred a storm beyond money, one that divided loyalties and sparked debates about betrayal. His punishment? A mere 6 months of house arrest and 2 years probation, a slap on the wrist compared to Gonzalez. Bruce Schneier, a security guru, summed it up. Lamo was a wake-up call, a reminder that even a lone drifter could pierce the veil, not with force, but with cunning. His scars were less about wallets and more about minds. So, let's break it down. Gonzalez struck 50 major targets over 3 years, raking in millions, while Lamo hit fewer than 10, with losses in the thousands. One crippled economies, The other pricked consciences. Compared to peers like Kevin Poulsen, who nabbed radio prizes, or Gary McKinnon, who hacked NASA for UFOs, Gonzalez stands as the titan of tangible harm. Lamo, though, mirrors McKinnon's mischief, a thorn in the side, not a sledgehammer. The verdict? Gonzalez was the immediate terror, a wrecking ball through our financial walls. Lamo was the whisper of what's possible, a ghost warning us to lock our doors. Together, they frame a truth. In the digital wild, danger wears many faces, and the next strike could come from anywhere. And there you have it. Gonzalez, the profit-driven titan who shook economies, and Lamo, the lone trickster who rattled trust. Two hackers, two legacies, both proving the digital world's a fragile place. Gonzalez hit harder, but Lamo's ghost lingers, warning us of what's next. So, who do you think was more dangerous? The thief who broke the bank, or the rebel who broke the rules? Drop your take below, and if you enjoyed this dive into cybercrime's wild side, hit that like button and subscribe for more. The next shadow might already be out there. What's your guess on who it could be?